Pretty recognizable logo, isn't it? Since the 1840s, the Y around the world has provided so many important services to families and individuals. But unfortunately, if you say the Y to a lot of people, they're going to think about playing basketball or going to summer camp or learning to swim. Well, the Y is involved in all of that, but so much, much more, particularly here in Houston.
But our beginnings were simple. By the 1880s, Houston was seeing a large post-war growth, and along with the growth came both good and bad. One evening in 1885, in the old Opera House on Franklin Street, a group of forward-thinking businessmen met to bring to the city something it sorely needed: a decent place to meet and have fun and develop a sense of community and principles. The result was the first Y in Houston, in rented space on the second and third floors of the old Brown Building, Main Street and Texas Avenue. Eventually, the Y had a large enough membership to create its own space. In the spring of 1902, the dream of a real Y was realized at the intersection of Fannin and McKinney. But this was just a temporary step toward what would become one of the most important buildings in all of Houston in the early part of the last century. In this multi-story solid building, the Houston Y began to flourish. This magnificent 5-story structure would be the Y's home for the next third of a century. The early Y was quite revolutionary. It housed an indoor pool. They called it a plunge bath at the time, a complete bowling alley, 2 separate gyms, classrooms, 91 residence rooms, a large health club, game room, handball court, and even a barber shop. Nearly overnight, the local Y found itself serving thousands of young Houstonians. The future leaders of the city were given a place to have fun and to learn the basics of teamwork and goal setting. In the late 19-teens, the Y began reaching out to a rapidly expanding city. The first community Y was in Houston Heights. That first suburban center has now grown to 40 around the Houston area. As the reputation of the Houston Y grew, particularly because of its increasing involvement in making the city a better place and its ability to provide essential programs and training that went well beyond the pool and gym, by the early 1940s, the Y was ready to expand again. The new building at 1600 Louisiana Street was 10 stories tall, with all the latest equipment, and it could offer a wider array of services. It had a dormitory that could lodge nearly 300 men, expanded gyms and workout areas, more classrooms, and a big assembly hall. The building was a Houston showplace and provided the Y with a greater opportunity to carry out its vital mission and serve the still growing city and its suburbs. As the country emerged from the Second World War, the role of the Houston Y became more and more important. The late 1940s saw the start of a new wave of expansion. In 1948, the Y founded South Texas Junior College. That school would eventually become the largest private 2-year school in the state. By the 1960s, the involvement of the Houston Y with the community really shifted into high gear, as more and more suburban communities said they wanted their own Y. The next 2 decades would see a huge expansion in Y services. The Houston Y has quietly worked over the decades to be in the forefront of innovation, providing an ever wider array of social and health services. For example, as times have changed, so have the Y's emphasis on certain sports. By the 70s, soccer became a major program. The 70s also saw the Houston Y begin to provide child care services and new innovative after-school programs. More than 10,000 children are now served by many programs coordinated with 30 school districts at nearly 300 locations. One program that goes back to the earliest days of the Y is camping, and the Houston Y boasts its own camping area, Camp Cullen, set up in the 70s. You know, it's difficult to find a service that is not provided by the Y. From serving our older citizens to assisting those with language learning problems to helping resettle tens of thousands of refugees and starting them on a new life. The Houston Y has worked often behind the scenes to improve the lives of all it comes in contact with. As the new century dawned, so did plans for the Y's new downtown family facility. It is a tribute to the generosity of those who want to be a vital part of the Y's ongoing story. The Houston Y has grown from providing basic gym and pool-type services to be one of the most important providers of a vast array of family and social services. It has happened because of the generosity of our friends and members and because of an ongoing feeling in Houston that without the Y, this city would be a much poorer place. As a matter of fact, it's difficult to imagine Houston without the Y.
I hope you realize now that the Y is more than just a gym. It's more than just a place. And here in the Houston area, it's a lot of places. Thanks for watching.